Good morning, everybody. This is Robin Leslie with OnlyTheInspired.com. Yay! We are on day 15 of our OnlyTheInspired.com Coach Summit, all about the value of coaching. And I'm super grateful that you're here. Make sure that you let us know where you're tuning in from and what your name is. And so if you are just now watching these interviews, my name is Robin Leslie, and I have came up with a coaching platform that I am launching as we're going through this Coach Summit. And it's a coaching platform for people to have a chance to level up their life, whether that be in their own personal business, family, health, motivation, any of that. It's just a amazing place for you to learn actually from coaching. So there's courses, there's live group coaching. We're going to have challenges. We're going to have all sorts of awesome things. It's a community. I'm super excited to be launching that at the same time that we're doing this 70 plus coach summit. So the summit is really just to give you an idea of the value of coaching and the various backgrounds and experiences of all of the coaches on this platform. And we have a couple different doctors. We have a couple attorneys. We have nurses. We have lots of people that have came from the corporate field. We've had stay-at-home moms who have homeschooled 6 kids and now have pivoted into a business that they're passionate about. And so my goal, honestly, with this Coach Summit is for the viewers to feel that thing in their belly where they know that they're meant for something more, or know that they want to connect with people who are enlightened and who are moving forward in life, people who are mission driven, people who want to really impact the world. And so I am grateful that you're here. Make sure you let me know where you're tuning in from. And so we have 2 amazing interviews today, and it's a husband and wife duo. So they don't do their businesses together, but we have husband and wife today. And right now they are drooling on their pillows because they live in Australia. So it's probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning right now. So they are sleeping. And so, but I am super excited about today's interviews. Wassim is going to be one of our coaches on OnlyTheInspired.com. So I'm very excited about that. And so it's probably going to be a shorter day today because we won't have the interviews in between. And then also later on today at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to do tomorrow's interviews because I will be at work. So I'm doing tomorrow's interviews. We're going live in 3 hours. And so I hope you tune in for that. And then tomorrow during this time, we are going to do the replay of that. We're going to do a watch party of that. So it'll be on the same time as usual. So I am going to get started, and I am going to play Wassim's interview. And then I'll come back up for a minute, and then I'm going to play Gina's interview. And so I'm super excited. And so when we recorded his interview, it was almost right in the beginning. So it was June 2nd. He didn't know that I was going to interview Gina a couple months later. So it's, and he says the sweetest things about her. And so it's just amazing. I love it. So anyways, I am going to share my screen, and I will see you guys after the video. Okay. This is Robin Leslie with OnlyTheInspired.com. I am here with the amazing Wassim Dabboussi. He is coming to us from Australia, and he's got quite a history, so let's get to know him a little bit more. So in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Awesome. So, first of all, thank you very much, Robin, for having me on the show. Really, really appreciate taking the time interviewing me. It's a pleasure to get to know you and speak to your audience. So, my name is Wassim Dabboussi from Australia, and what I currently do is I help entrepreneurs find their tribe and find their voice online so they can build a sustainable business online, making a minimum of $10,000 or more online every single month consistently.
Oh, nice, nice. So how did you get started in that? What was the event or kind of the process that got you doing what you do today?
So I started, I got into university for psychology, and I was persuaded by my family not to follow that path. So like many young people, I was easily influenced and did what my parents told me to do. And I went down and did an IT degree, which I did for 4.5 years. I worked in IT for about 1.5 years and I quit after doing a 4.5 year degree. So 6 years of my life were going to something that I don't really, wasn't really passionate about. But I've always been passionate as to understand to why people do what they do and why some people have the success in life and other people don't, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to be a psychologist. So after 1.5 years, I'm like, I've always wanted to help people. So I quit information technology, I quit IT, and I became a high school teacher, thinking, you know what, I'm about to mold the youth and whatnot. But teaching just wasn't for me. My wife and I both became teachers at the same time. She's an extremely excellent teacher, and she's a successful teacher. She's still teaching now, 18 years later, but teaching wasn't the right career for me. So it was during that time where I started doing some soul searching. We had a baby, so my wife took some time off. We had a really, really large mortgage, which we couldn't afford to pay. So we had to move in with my family, with my parents, and rent out a property to be able to continue to own that property and not lose it. So during that time, I was like, I can't live like this, on a wage, and started searching, started looking for a second stream of income and whatnot. I came across network marketing, and through there, I came across personal development. I'd never heard of personal development before, never heard of Tony Robbins. And it was through network marketing I joined. I went to a Tony Robbins event, and that opened my eyes up to so much. And I was like, wow, this is where I need to be. So that was 2003, and that was the beginning of my personal development journey. And I'd already done some sales in the past during high school and uni days. So had a bit of sales experience. I was doing network marketing, and I realized my passion for sales and marketing. So ever since then, I've had marketing companies, I've had commercial products businesses, I've owned cafes, I've owned gyms, I've owned online businesses. So I've really fell in love with the business side of things, but I've also in love with the personal development side of things. So for 17 years, I want to follow my passion and help people and become a coach. And like many people, I always gave myself the reason and excuse. When the kids get a little bit older, I want to be more financially free. We have a bit more money when the mortgage is a little bit less. So for 17 years, I kept pushing until it got to the point where I found myself jobless about 1.5 years ago. I got a phone call, got called to a meeting, and the next day, within 24 hours, I lost my income. And I was working for a large pharmaceutical company, so I was on a multiple six-figure income, and I lost it overnight. And it was like, well, what do I do now? Do I go get another job, or do I follow my passion? And sat down with my wife and did some soul searching, and then looked into going back to university, doing a psychology degree again. And then I looked at the time frame that's going to take, and I'd have to start from scratch. I'm like, no, I'm not willing to invest that time. But I wanted to do something that I'm still passionate about. So that's where my passion for sales and marketing and my passion for personal development came together. And I started coaching and started coaching businesses and entrepreneurs. I was doing some business coaching before COVID, and physical bricks and mortar businesses, obviously. And then after COVID, I shifted everything online. And that's why now I'm helping entrepreneurs get online, because I lost everything when COVID hit. I had my gym closed down. I lost 90% of my clients because they were brick and mortar businesses and they had to pause. They're starting to come back online now. And I had to pivot my business. Like, I lost all my income within 3 days. And by the end of April, we had made $39,000.
Oh, wow.
So we were able to pivot really, really fast and move online and make them within 10 days. So it took about 3 weeks to plan our program, plan how we're going to do it. And then when we launched it, within 10 days, we made $39,000 in the last 10 days of April.
Fantastic. It's interesting how life works, and you dabble in here and there, and then through the pressure, that's when you make a major shift, and a lot of people feel that way. And I was blessed. When I was 17, I got into Amway. So in 1989, that was my first experience with network marketing and my first experience with this personal development, self-improvement field, and it completely changed the way I looked at my life for the last 31 years, since I was 3. Just joking. So I love that. I love that. Quite a diverse background, and to be a school teacher and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes you have to try something before you realize it's not for you. And sometimes you just really don't understand that until you're in it. It's like, no, I'm not feeling this. And so you have to listen to your gut. And that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, 100%. Look, and I have no regrets. I mean, if I hadn't gone down the path I went down, I won't be where I am today. And I'm very, very fortunate because I've had so many life experiences. I've traveled the world through my jobs. I've had different experiences in different businesses. I've traveled the world for personal development. I've traveled the world for courses. So, I don't regret where I am. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today, being able to give so much value, if I hadn't gone down that path, and I hadn't had the journey that I had. So at the end of the day, for me, I have no regrets, because every time I did something, I was like, you know what, I want to give it a go. And then if you worked, you worked. If you didn't, it didn't.
Right. And even if it didn't, you got that education in that field. And so it broadens your horizon because you can see things from a different perspective. So
100%.
describe your ultimate vision for your business now that you're more focused online, for one, unless the World Wide Web blows up, and then, but that most likely is not going to happen. But what's your ultimate vision now from where you stand?
Well, yeah, I mean, most likely it won't happen, but we don't know COVID is going to happen either. So, there could be an COVID down the road somewhere, and, the internet might be down.
Right.
So I think the biggest lesson for me is to be agile, to be flexible, to be able to move fast, because one of the things right now, especially during this COVID period and post-COVID, is going to be the fast are going to eat the slow. Those that are move fast are going to win. The ones that pivot as fast as possible. So my ultimate vision for my business, to answer your question, is first of all, I have a vision of helping 100,000 entrepreneurs. That's my ultimate vision. If I can help 100,000 entrepreneurs become sales and marketing ninjas, have the entrepreneurial spirit and the entrepreneurial mindset, so they can withstand whatever challenges the market throws at them, then I've achieved my goal.
And
by doing that, I can actually inspire my kids, and I can live an inspirational life. And then by living an inspirational life, I can inspire others around me. And my biggest why is I want my boys. I got 3 young boys, 16, 14, and 8. And I want them to remember that time that dad lost his job, but was able to turn things around for the family, and he did it on his own. He didn't need to go for help, didn't need to ask for a job. It showed them that you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it.
And from that struggle, created a legacy for them.
That's right.
And your grandkids, yes, absolutely. So what beliefs do you have that set you apart from your competition? So there's a lot of people that do sales and marketing, and I believe much more in collaboration than competition. But what do you think your beliefs are? What kind of sets you apart from all of the other people that are doing what you do?
That's a good question, and I think probably the answer to that would be a lot of sales and marketing guys out there are very very well polished. They well dressed. They've always got the three-piece suit on. I don't come from that side. I'm like, sales and marketing isn't about. I mean, you've got to dress correct for the occasion. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying walk into, if you walk into a big corporation, you don't walk in with ripped jeans and a t-shirt. But if I'm walking into the local gym, for example, or I'm walking into a local mechanic and I'm going to do a presentation there, I'll walk in with jeans and a t-shirt. But I don't believe in setting yourself so high, being well polished, because a lot of people find that intimidating and they can't connect. So I'm more about being real and more about building relationships and making the sale where it's a win-win-win for both. So it's a win for the client, it's a win for me, and therefore it's a win for the business and win for their clients.
Awesome. And that is very true. A lot of times, we're instantly more comfortable with somebody that looks like us and talks like us versus somebody that's all stuffy. So what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
Limiting beliefs, self-doubt. That's probably the hardest. And whenever you start a business, there's a lot of questions, and I think especially with the social media and social proof, as humans, we live by social proof. So social proof is a big thing for us. I was listening to a podcast this morning by Tony Robbins, and he's talking about how social proof is one of the biggest things that influences people. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when they get online, especially right now, and they see what other people are doing, they start to compare themselves. And I did that. When I first started in business, I kept comparing myself to those that were 5, 10, 15 years ahead of me. And one of the biggest mistakes I did back then was compare myself to them. And that deflated me and deflated my motivation, my self-confidence, and my self-belief. So the biggest thing I have to overcome is to compare myself to myself. How can I get better every single day? Not how can I get better versus, my business coach who's been doing this for 10 years ago. How can I get better against me? And once I competed with myself, then everything changed.
Oh, that's incredible. I think so many people are going to resonate with that. And I've done that too. You see these other people just kicking ass online and, it's just a struggle sometimes. And so, when you compare yourself, you didn't actually see the years that they put into it before they were successful. And so it's a misconstrued comparison.
And that's something actually, that's a very, very good point. And I think one of my biggest takeaways was there was a particular successful entrepreneur online. We're going to get to that. And then I was doing some research on him and I put his name in YouTube. I came across a podcast or a YouTube video he did from like 10 years ago. And I looked at that and I'm like, wow, like the quality, the background, he was in this little shack. Like you could tell that he was struggling because the apartment that he was in was, it was all shabby and the paint was peeling off. And then you see where he is today. I'm like, and that gave me confidence. I'm like, you know what? He could do that. He did it 10 years ago. I'm trying to compare myself to him now. I'm not doing myself justice. He's got the big studios now. He's got, all these employees. But where did he start off?
Right. Well, and so when I decided to become a coach, it was at a Tony Robbins event. You know, if I could do what Tony Robbins does, but I have to actually realize he's got 35 years ahead of me. So it wasn't an overnight thing, and it was a struggle for him in the beginning. And so, yeah, you have to look at that. And I'm glad you found that video, because I have some of those fun videos.
Yeah, even Tony Robbins, I was speaking to someone here in Australia, and they went to the first ever Tony Robbins seminar back in like '91 when he first came out to Australia, and he was like 30 people in a room in a city hotel in Kings. It was like even King's Cross, which is like the red light district in Sydney. So it was, yeah, in a shady area town, 20 or 30 people in town, and that's where Tony Robbins was. Yeah, and that was 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago. So yeah, you can't compete. You can't compare yourself to where they are now.
No,
Aspire to be like that, but remember where they started.
exactly. So this question I ask everybody, because some people have it and some people don't. So, do you have the support of as the support network of friends and family that are saying, you know, go for this, Wassim, or are you kind of doing it all on your own because this is, and I'm sure I know the answer, or is it a decision, I'm doing this, I don't care if I don't get the support, you know, because some people have no cheerleaders, some have that support. So I'm just curious where you are.
I have to say I'm extremely, extremely grateful and extremely, extremely blessed. I thank God every single day that I do have that support network. I have an amazing wife who is my biggest cheerleader. You know, she's my rock. She stands by my side. She picks me up when I'm down, and I have the support of my children. One of my biggest moments. When I first started in business back in 2003 onwards, it was my mindset that told me I didn't have the support. And then after years, when I spoke to my wife, she's like, "Why are you talking like that?" She's like, "I always supported you. I had to change. I had to shift my thinking." So I went from thinking I had no support, but realized that it was me telling myself that. And I think a lot of people, they just question what they're perceiving from their family and have that conversation. I think there'll be a big difference, because if they communicate with their family the reason why they're doing it, then I'm pretty sure 90% of the time people will say, okay, you know what, I support that. As long as the family understands there's clear communication, this is what I'm doing, this is the goal, this is what we're going to get to, this is what we're going to do. But if they just think you're chasing a pipe dream, that's where you're probably not going to get support. So when I started this latest business that I'm in, I knew I had my wife's support. She was there for me. She put in hours. She helped me on the weekends because she's a high school teacher, so she works full time. But she was there for me the whole time. And the biggest two moments in my life that really resonate. We walked out of a seminar. So I took my whole family to this National Achievers Congress that they hold out in Australia. And it's just a day with about 4 or 5 or 6 different speakers. So we went all of us together last year. And I remember walking out one of the breaks, and my kids knew I had aspirations to become a speaker. And I remember my two eldest boys, my middle child and my eldest child, they looked at me on one of the breaks and like, "Dad," after one of the speakers had a massive rush at the table and everything else, and I said, "Dad, do not get a job. Dad, this is what you're meant to do." And like that was wow. Like these are 14, 16-year-old boys. And then when I had my first solo seminar, when I ran my own first event, we had a room of about 60, 70 people in there. And my boys at the end of that, they go, "You know what, Dad, you made us cry twice tonight."
Yay!
And they go, seeing you on stage, and even my eldest son, who doesn't really open up about his emotions a lot, he goes, you made my eyes tear up tonight. I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "I was just so happy for you seeing you on stage." And like, for me, that means more than anything else. To have my two kids, and then my youngest one, he's running around like he's he's 8.5 now. I've got him on stage. He was so excited, and the smile on his face that I was able to provide this opportunity for him. That's what makes me do what I do. It's those little moments.
Yeah, and you are a total inspiration for them, which everybody needs it. You know, if your inspiration, and that's one of the questions coming up, can be your parent, that's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your favorite thing about your business?
The conversations I have with people and watching the light bulb moments. You know, like when I'm coaching my clients, or I do a group coaching program, but my clients also get access to me on an individual level, and it's those moments when um, sorry, I just got distracted. So it's watching those light bulb moments pop out for my clients that makes a massive difference. When I see shift in what they're doing, and they have an understanding of where they're going to go, and they get clarity on their business, and then I see them succeed. That's what makes them live for the moment.
Awesome. Yes. Okay, so what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business. I'm just curious, what inspires you? What are you passionate about?
Yeah, what inspires me is, and I'm sure you'll resonate with this. If you remember at your first Tony Robbins event, something that resonated with you, and that usually sticks with people. For me, there's a lot of things that resonated that first weekend I did GPW, but one of the things that really resonated was the Kanai concept, constant, never-ending improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I've really taken on and embodied in as many parts of my life as possible, and I keep adding it to new parts. So that constant never-ending improvement is a philosophy I live by, and that really inspires me every day to how can I get better? How can my relationship with my wife be better today? How can we have more love, more connection, etc. between us every single day? And that's something we've taken on and made our relationship skyrocket. I do that with my kids. How can I have better connection with my kids? How can I have better health? How can my business get better? I'm always looking for ways. I have 4 coaches myself, that help me in different areas of my life and different parts of my business. So it's that constant, never-ending improvement. Understand that you're never going to be perfect.
You're never going to be perfect, but I do believe, it's one of my beliefs, that we are here to become the best that we can be, not to coast and do nothing. And that is why my tribe, and it took a while to figure out my tribe, are those who are inspired, those who are moving forward, even if they're not changing their careers or whatever. It's the ones that are constantly moving forward. And I believe that's our obligation, to be here on this planet. You leave it better than you can. Become the best dad, the best husband, the best father. Yeah, and I think that's incredible. So who inspires you?
There's so many people that inspire me. Obviously, there's people like, I come from an Arab background. I was born in Lebanon. So obviously there's people in Arab history, and the history of the Middle East has a lot of things to do with that. I'm inspired by a lot of that, but also modern leaders like people like Tony Robbins. Every time, one of my coaches actually grew up in Lake Tahoe, from close to where you are. He's one of my personal coaches in America. These people who've made it, who've gone from rags to riches, I look at their story and try and find the gold in that. But my biggest inspiration is probably my wife. She's an absolutely amazing woman. She's a powerhouse. The things that she does, she's gone through so much adversity in her life. She's a leader in her work. She can lead a whole school and lead a family, being mother and family, and not let her ego get in the way. And I look at her and I'm like, you are so humble for everything that you've done. So she really inspires me.
I love that. So, and this is a big question, if you could leave one tip or one golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing that you could say and the only chance you had to say it, what would that be?
Your life is a blank canvas. We are all given a blank canvas when we're born. It's up to you to paint a masterpiece.
And you can do it. believe that you could do that. Incredible. So I know you have a couple gifts to give everybody listening. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we tell people?
No, I'm good. So I do have I have two ebooks that I'm going to give away to people to listen to tonight. So one is more for entrepreneurs, called The 6 Deadly Mistakes Entrepreneurs Make and How to Avoid Them. So that one is available directly on my website, wassimdabboussi.com. That's WASS for Sydney, IM, D for Doctor, ABBOUSSI.com. So just go onto my homepage and it'll be there, top of the homepage, so just to opt in for that and it gets emailed to you. The other one is my Peak Performance Secrets ebook, and that one's more for general people who are inspired and they're not necessarily in business, but they just want to up-level their life. And that one is available on bit.ly/WD free book. So WD, my initials, WD, and then free, FREE, book, BOOK. And that one gets delivered via Messenger. So you just log into that and it gets into you via your Facebook Messenger.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's incredible that you're doing that. I can't wait to see them myself. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your knowledge and your wisdom and your heart in what you do, because sales and marketing, it's a whole monster all on its own that people struggle with, but they need to know how to do it, especially if you're a brick and mortar, or especially if you're just starting out. It is one of those things that you have to know how to do, and sometimes people really struggle with that. So it's awesome that you help them.
Yeah, and honestly, it's one of the best for me. Sales is one of the most important skills in life. For relationships, for anything. Once you understand the skill of selling and understanding your prospects or the person that you're talking to, understanding their pain point and understanding how you can resolve that pain point, you're going to be able to build amazing relationships. So if you haven't done any sales and marketing, I highly, highly recommend that you do learn sales. It's very, very important for every aspect of your life. 23 years I've been married, 20 years I've been married, been with my wife 23 years. And I say to everybody, I have to sell myself to her every single day.
And I'm sure she appreciates it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And please, I'll mention those websites again. So for the 6 deadly mistakes that entrepreneurs make and how to avoid them, go to wassimdabboussi.com. It's WASSIMDABBOUSSI.com, and there'll be a thing right on the front page where you could put in your name and email and get that. And then the other one, Peak Performance Secrets, and that is served through Messenger, but you go there by bit.ly, bit.ly/WD free book, FREEBOOK. And definitely jump on that and see what you get from that. And thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. See you next time. All righty. Oops. There we go. Hello, Miss Irene. Oh, so I just love that interview. He's got such a good soul and such an interesting background, to go from going to college to be a psychologist to going into IT to becoming a high school teacher. And, sometimes you have to try on lots of hats. You have to try on lots of careers before you actually find one that really lights you up. And obviously, sales and marketing lights him up. What a great story. And I love his favorite thing is watching the light bulb moments. And most of the coaches, that is their favorite thing. The light bulb moments, the aha moments, when somebody finally gets gets the concept or gets the vision of their life that just kind of opens up. And I had one of those aha moments when I was at my first Unleash the Power Within. That's, because I always search, what do I want to be? What do I want to do? And when I was at that Tony Robbins event, I knew hands down, if I can make an impact on people like Tony Robbins does, that is what I want to do. And so I don't know if I'm ever going to be on the scale of stage that he's on, but I'm creating something where it's a collaboration. It's a collection of people like Wassim and his wife, Gina, and all of these amazing coaches that come together to make that impact on a immediate instant scale. And so if here's part of the thing about onlytheinspired.com. And so there's courses on there, right? So these courses, if you were to get them outside of the site, they go anywhere from $197 a month to probably $600 or $700. Not $197 a month, $197 to probably around $600 or $700 if you were to buy them individually. And so the coaches believe in this collaboration because it makes everything better. And coaches are, and you've heard some of them say, if I don't have the skills, if I know somebody else could help them better, I will send them there, because we all are coming from the right place. And so the coaches are putting those courses, their courses, and it's not just courses, they're coaching you through this. They're going to put those courses on the site, because what amazing value. Because we know if we could lift up as many people in this world as possible, everybody benefits. The children benefit, the grandchildren benefit, the economy benefits, everybody benefits by people finding their passion, people healing from their past, people moving forward and creating just incredible education for people. I totally believe in self-education versus college. And that's just me. Obviously, you can't become a doctor if you don't go to college, but you could self-pick exactly what you want to learn. And I love that. So I just wanted to throw that out there a little bit. And just remind you guys that the $47 a month, that goes up on Monday. So you have today and tomorrow for that. So I am going to show Miss Gina's interview, and what a beautiful couple they are. And we talk a little bit, the whole family went to Tony Robbins virtual UPW, and they talk about that. We talk about that on this interview because we just did this one in August. And so I'm super excited to share this with you, and how amazing. And just listen as you're listening to the interview and imagine what those three boys are like, being raised by these two amazing people. And I'm super proud to have them on this summit. And so they won't be here live because they are sleeping. Because they're in Australia. And so, but you could always reach both Wassim and Gina in the group, and you can ask them questions. You could reach out to them right there. And then just a reminder for the giveaways, like Wassim is giving away 2 different ebooks. That's going to be under the giveaways post topic, but it's also under announcements, and you'll see this guy going like this, and it says giveaways. So that's where you're going to find all the giveaways from the coaches. So I am going to play Miss Gina's interview, and then I will come back up. Okay. is Robin Leslie with OnlyTheInspired.com doing another amazing interview today. And I have the beautiful Gina Debussy. So I can't wait to talk with her about what she's doing. It's going to help so many kids out there and their parents when the kids are going through school. So, Miss Gina, in a couple of minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
So first, thanks, Robin, for giving me the opportunity. It's actually so exciting. I am a coach for students, mainly teenagers, so in their final years of school. Now, when I say that, a lot of parents sometimes ask me whether I could help them as well. So there's a lot to be said about what I do, but I am a mother of 3 boys. 2 of them are teenagers and 1 of them is going through his final year of school. So although I've been teaching for 18 years, I didn't realize how hard it was until I became the parent of a teenager doing his final year of school himself. So both sides of the coin here.
Awesome. So how did you get started in this business? Or how did you so was it trial and error of being the parent of the teenager where you wanted to actually help people go through that, or how did that go?
I guess it was because just as he started, because here in Australia, so I'm from Sydney, Australia, so we have what's called the HSC. And I've had so many years of experience with helping students and their parents at school within the capacity of my job. But then as I started to see my own son going through, I saw it was very different as a parent myself. And I started to see more of what the parent is feeling. Whereas previously I could help a lot of parents. They would ask me a lot of questions and I would help them. But now, and even he's got 9 weeks left of school, and then he actually starts his HSC exams. Not only is it that it's a hard period to go through as a parent as well, but with the whole, I guess I don't want to call it a threat, but we're a little bit worried about a second lockdown here in Sydney at the moment as well. So the students are starting to worry, parents are starting to worry. So I just started to see that there was a need for a lot of teenagers outside of my own school environment who needed help. And so I've got some people that I've been started helping with getting them through. It's not tutoring. So a lot of people tend to get confused with what it is that I help with. It's more along the lines of, organizational skills, time management, and I think first and foremost is mindset. So I had a lot of people communicate they needed tutoring, and I was like, oh, I don't really do that. I do more of just helping in another sense. So it just kind of came about, and I was helping people throughout the years, and then I thought, you know what, I think I might just reach out to others as well. So yeah, kind of evolved.
And then so that's what I was thinking is tutoring, but it's not tutoring. It's kind of guiding the teenagers through all the testing and possibly direction in their life, right? And then how the parents could support them while going through the testing. Can you go more into exactly what you do?
So it's more of a group coaching for teenagers that I do a lot of group coaching. I do have sometimes where people, when I say parents, ask if I could do a few sessions for them as well. So I do have some different programs depending on the needs. My first and foremost, though, it is group coaching for teenagers. I do have the students reach out to me and ask for that help. When that happens, look, it's a step in the right direction because it's the student themselves realizing I really need help with managing my time, because the final year of school is that year where you're still trying to learn you're growing up. You're still trying to learn how to manage time. Plus here in Australia, I think it's very similar in America, in the United States as well. But it's trying to manage 6 different courses or subjects between 5 to 6. So trying to learn those skills as well as all the content that's in the subjects, a lot of students just really struggle. So the ones who approach me themselves already have that initiative and drive, whereas when it's parents who are looking for somebody like, please help my child, I don't know what to do, I'm at my wit's end. So it's about really getting the child to find their reasons why they're finishing school in the first place, setting goals. Well, where do you want to go? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this just because your parents want you to finish school? We need to work things out. So it's starting there to begin with. That's how I can help the parent, getting that first step, really.
And that's helpful. And so sometimes it's, like for me, I have a 16-year-old, and so when I was in school, it was 31 years ago. And when I was a senior
Does
in
not
school,
look like it.
oh, well, that's not frosted, just saying. And so it's been so long since I was taking finals in school, and some of that stuff, some of the math, like we can't help them with, we can't help them study. And so they're kind of winging it on their own. So I love that you're helping them get through that and get organized and actually have a purpose for graduating, not just doing it because their parents want them to. Because there's, for one, I believe that graduating high school is your first major accomplishment in your life. It's 13 years to do that. Yeah. So I love what you're doing. So
the other thing is that teachers, high school teachers, tend to focus on the content. So we are very content driven. And when I say we, because I'm a teacher myself, so we focus so much on getting the content across to the students. So what I do, even within the capacity of my job as well, we try to bring the kids, back up a little bit. Like let's take a step back for a second and think about, before all the content, we really need to think about, where is this going? So if we want to learn about the novel To Kill a Mockingbird, for example, what are the values in that novel that are lifelong lessons rather than just who the characters are, and just memorizing those characters. So it's about taking that step back and values, and what do we value most, and what do you value most as a student as well? So where do you want to go with this?
Gotcha. And just so everybody knows what cool parents Gina and Wassim are, they just did the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within virtual event as a family. So, yeah. And I have you guys on the same day for your interviews. And, how cool is that to do a family event, Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within? Yay.
And virtual as well.
Yeah. So how was that for everybody? Because just the youngest hadn't gone through it, right?
That's correct. So the two older boys went with Wassim to the live events here in Sydney. So 4 years ago and then 2 years ago. It was their gift when they both turned 14. So they're 2 years apart. And then our youngest is almost 9. So he was supposed to see Tony in Melbourne. I think it was in April, May, but clearly with everything happening. So as soon as the virtual event came out, we jumped on it, and we did it together as a family in the lounge room. We let him take the driver's seat in the breakout rooms as well. So, and he loved it. He just liked meeting people on Zoom and everything. And he was just so happy, even though we were doing it from midnight until 12 p.m. the next day. And there were a few times where each of us would fall asleep at different points, but we pushed through.
Because it's almost the total opposite time zone of here. Yeah. So that's so awesome. I love that you guys did that. So describe, going back to the interview, describe your ultimate vision for your business.
So ultimately what I would like is to have just students coming through my different coaching programs and really realizing that they have the tools within themselves that they can carry on through the rest of their schooling. Some can carry on in different programs. So I run them as 6-week blocks, because I really think that students don't to commit to something at that point in time when you're worrying about finals and things like that is not an easy thing to do. So that's why I just run it as a 6-week program. It's manageable, like a chunk size that you could manage over the course of a whole year. And students could choose to redo it, but I do program it so that it's 4 different programs within that final year. And I give it a break as well. So about 4 weeks break between each program. And that is to really ultimately see that the students have it within themselves to take on pressure, take on an extra load, and then later learn to inspire others with what they've learned as well. And then go on to university or go on to work and reach their goals, really.
I love that you're helping them with that, because it's tough. And I know here in the US, I don't know what it's like over there. Test scores are so important. That's what drives the teachers. Well, I think that's what drives the school districts for funding, not necessarily the teachers. But yeah, and if you want to get into a good college or university, you have to have really high scores to get accepted. So I love that you're helping them through that, because it's a huge event for them, and it's lots of studying when they're in the middle of their hormones and all that kind of stuff at the same time. Yep. So
and a lot of the time you're learning who they are as well.
Right, and the social dynamics, and there's lots happening when you're a teenager, for sure. So what beliefs do you have that kind of set you apart from your competition? And so far, I don't see many other people helping students like you are. So I don't think you have much of a competition, but anything that comes to mind with that question?
So, I mean, I think more than anything, I wouldn't, because I don't really look out too much for who else. There are a few people here in Australia that are helping and coaching students. I think, but a lot of them are close to their age. So I'm much older. And I would say the difference is that even though I am much older and probably had a bit more experience, I still see it that I learn so much from students. It's actually wonderful to see that when I do have different students going through my program or even through school within my job, I see students just come up with so many amazing ideas. And sometimes I love what I call, even within myself, like I get these light bulb moments. It's like, wow, that's amazing. And so I will cater for whoever is within my programs, because I learn from them. I'm like, okay, I've learned what you need, and let's work together to go on with what we need to achieve together for you. So yeah, I don't really stick to one rigid plan or idea. And although there is definitely a plan, I don't want to sound like I'm all over the place. There definitely is a plan, but learning from them and then applying what I learn
back. Yeah.
Mm.
So what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
I think putting myself out there. So, I mean, this is a great opportunity, but it's not something I'm used to. So I like to, I guess, I'm so used to working within my own little bubble. So really getting out there and saying, hey, I'm here. That's probably the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest for everybody, is like stepping outside that comfort zone. So, and I have no doubt on the next question, but so do you have the support network of friends and family encouraging you to do this? Because it's obviously on top of what you're doing already, or is this something you feel compelled to do and you're going to do it no matter what?
I definitely have the support. Like you said, I have Wassim, and he helps me with all the technological stuff that I'm not very good at. So whenever I have an idea, he'll let me know, okay, I've got this person or that person who can help you with it. And he really supports the idea, especially when I first came up with it. He was just so excited for me that he was like, oh, you could do this and you could do that. And I was like, oh no, that's too much. Hang on, let me one step at a time.
Yep. And I do that with my man. It's like, oh, and you could do this and this and this. And he's all, hold on.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite thing about your business?
My favorite thing would have to be, I think, really, like you said, it's pushing me out of my comfort zone. Although I have always had, as a teacher, I've liked to push myself as a teacher within my job. This is something I feel like is just something that is different. It's something that I'm building, and I also see so much growth in some of the students that I've helped. I've currently got one student in the UK who is in lockdown, was just playing on the PlayStation pretty much most of the day. Mum reached out to me and said, I really don't know what to do. So I think it was towards of their academic year, and he had a lot of tasks overdue. Like I said, it's not tutoring. I wasn't really looking into the content of what he was doing. So I wasn't sitting there and looking at his maths problems or his English problems. It wasn't anything like that. Just getting him to open up his Teams, Microsoft Teams he was using, and really getting him to finish the tasks that he hadn't completed. And I think for a lot of students right now, they're thinking, it doesn't matter anyway, the teachers are not following me up that much, which is the case for some students. Teachers I think are very stressed and overwhelmed, and not being able to see the students face to face, maybe not applying consequences, whatever it is that they're usually doing to get students to complete work, is really the difficulty they're having. So he had so many overdue tasks that I kind of worked him through those tasks even when school officially finished. And so then even now working with him during his break as well, when really in his mind, he's supposed to be on holidays, PlayStation all day long. So I had to really tweak the program to move away from doing a routine of work to doing things with him that were going to benefit him for when he restarts. I think mid-August they're restarting. So working with him, and he's actually gotten himself into a really nice routine, cut down the amount of hours on the PlayStation. He's doing exercise, and we're looking at things that he's interested in, but will also benefit when he goes back to school. So, and as I mentioned, Mum was getting very stressed and worried because he's about to go into his senior school years. And so I've set him up with a few tools just before he goes back, and I'm waiting to see what happens.
Yay.
So hopefully he'll get there.
Good. Well, and you're teaching them skills that are going to go way beyond school anyways. And then if he goes to college, that'll still help him. But, you know, he could have stopped doing those courses because school was technically ended, but then he would have been behind on the knowledge that's going to help him in the next year. And so I like that you did that. And, you know, you could get sucked into a video game easily, just like you could get sucked into a Netflix, you know, binge watching, same kind of thing. But so I love, you know, what you're doing is really important and super helpful. So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
Right now, what inspires me is my son, and watching him, well, all three of my sons, but my eldest as well, and just watching him grow. It is really tough as a mother to watch him as well. There have been ups and downs, not even going to try and make it sound or paint a picture of, oh, sunflowers in a field or anything like that.
He's a
as much
teenager.
as much as I might have a lot of knowledge in helping other teenagers, it's that emotional attachment I have to him as a mother that has just given me a totally different perspective, and hearing his struggles as well, and just talking to him all the time about what he's struggling and trying to get through, and him just communicating with me, us talking regularly. I've just seen a lot of change in him, and it's inspired me as well. And I know it's tough, and I can see it as a mother. And just watching him grow, honestly, he inspires me, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen for him as well.
Well, with parents like you guys, I'm sure he's going to be awesome. I'm sure he already is. So, you maybe kind of answered this one, but maybe there's more. So who inspires you? Is there anybody else besides your son?
Well, I have, like I said, right now my son all three of my sons inspire me, and just I think I just love to watch young teenagers grow. It's just so interesting. One, though, in particular that I can think of, I have she used to be my student, and she's now come back to work at the school where I work as a learning support teacher, so a special ed teacher. And it really inspires me that she has come back, and when she first started this time last year, she said, I feel like I've come back home, and I feel like I am working with a purpose, being here and helping other students. And just to see that growth in someone so young, she's 22, she's only very young, but she's so excited and so passionate. And she's come back because she doesn't have a lot of experience, but it's her passion that drives her, and she does her job so well. And honestly, I think it's that drive and passion that will override skills or experience any day. It's just so good to watch.
Yay. Yay. That's awesome. So big question, my last question. So if you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing that you could say and your only chance to say it, what would that be?
It would be to talk as much as you can to, if you're a parent and you have a teenager going through school, it's just about asking those questions and having those hard conversations that sometimes you're a little bit nervous about having.
So, question, as being a mom of a stubborn teenager, so what if the kids don't want to talk? What if they say I'm fine, or they just don't want to engage? Do you have any suggestions in that area?
It's just, well, I really respect that. If they don't want to talk, I think give them space. And give them a couple of days as well. And I think it comes down to asking those questions that are difficult, acknowledging, like, I can see that there is something. Is there something that you want to talk about? Is there something maybe that's bothering you? Or how about if you don't want to talk, let's just do something. Like, tell me something that you want to do, we'll go out and do it together. And even if because it is, sometimes they just want to sit in silence. And I even say, even my own son, I'll say, let's just go, we'll just sit there together. We don't have to talk. So we just sit. And I think it's just being there, even in silence, sometimes that helps as well. It's hard to explain.
Well, and I think just letting them know that you're interested and that you're there for them when they want to talk. And, you could bring it up if they're not ready, that's fine. But let me know when you're ready. I'm here for you. I think that's a big support that the kids need, because it's very confusing time. Super confusing time for them. They're trying to fit in. They're trying to do all their studies so they could get good grades. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do after school. They're going to, after they graduate, what am I going to be? Because people start pushing, what do you want to be when you grow up, when you're 5th or 6th grade? It's like, I have no idea. So yeah, it's a confusing and overwhelming time for them. And then as a parent, you try and go back to when you were a kid and try and remember, would I have talked to my mom about this, or, what did I want? So yeah, sometimes that perspective is very, very important. So I know you're gonna give away, it's like a case study for parents. Did you want to share anything else besides before we talk about that, or do you want to just talk about your case study?
Well, I just, in terms of being a parent, and it is very stressful. So what you mentioned as well about wanting to sit in silence and give them time and space, I think it's also really important. It's easier said than done when we say try not to get too emotional about it, but not to press the issue as well. Give them that time. I know it starts to become stressful for us, but really giving them that time is so important. I just wanted to re-emphasize what you were saying, because it can start to cause tension if you really just keep pushing and tell me and what's going on, and it just grows and it makes it worse. They will eventually come out and say,
if they don't lash out at you first.
that's right.
Housekeeping. I'm fine. Yes. Well, and I could be bad. I could be a nag. It's like, and I could push the issue, and I appreciate giving them space. It's especially, they all have to process in their own way. And so I appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about the case study that you're going to offer for the parents.
So the case study works a little bit like, I guess some people might call it a masterclass or a webinar. So it's just going through and just giving parents the ideas of what you could do to help your child through that final year, and going through and listing different things to look out for as well. So I mentioned earlier about a lot of teachers focusing on content. So sometimes if you want to look at what they're doing at school, how you could guide your child, maybe they don't want you to have a look at what they're doing at school, then it could be about just helping them with how to set their times, what a time planner might look like, or it could be to do with mindset. So I go through these main areas. So what to look out for at school. So things that we call learning intentions, also routine, planning time, how you could help as a parent, and what to do on an overall scale with time management and time planning. And then that third area, which is mindset. So what you could look for in their mindset. And as we've been saying, a lot of teenagers don't want to talk about all of those things. Maybe there's one that will only open up to you about one particular area. So as long as a parent you have an idea of what these tools are, you could be a little bit more equipped to moving forward with helping as much as you can.
Well, and I also believe that teenagers might open up to other adults versus their parents, because there's not as much judgment maybe. So that's where somebody like you would come in, where you're used to dealing with teenagers, and you're there in that open space for those communications to happen. And I think, a lot of them is like, I don't want to talk to my parent, but I'll talk to a different adult that I trust and that I feel comfortable with, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where, so this case study gets you to address what those areas may be. But then it also gives you an idea of what I would go into with the group coaching calls and what I would do. And what benefits them as well is they can speak to other students the same age when they're on a call, and really go into the different strategies that they're using for different parts of their schooling. and communicating with each other as well. So, and knowing they're not alone in trying to get through whatever it is they need to get through.
I love that. I love that. So for everybody to get the case study, we're going to go to just your website, right? So GinaDabboussi.com.
That's correct. Yeah.
So it's GinaDabboussi.com. And so there'll be an opt-in where they could just sign up for that.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
awesome.
correct.
I absolutely love what you're doing. I think it's very, very needed. That's one of the toughest times in people's lives. I loved high school. Lots of people hate high school. I absolutely loved it. But my kids both, they struggled every month in high school. And so people out there that are like you, that help them get through that and help them see the purpose in going through school and getting this accomplished and actually teaching them those skills that they're going to use for the rest of their lives. I think that's super helpful. So I think what you're doing is awesome.
Thank you so much, Robin. Yeah, I'd love to see the growth, and thank you for this opportunity as well.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So thank you everybody for being here. Please share this video because I know it's not just me. As a parent of a teenager that hates school and really struggles with school, they could use some help, and somebody that really appreciates teenagers, and she has teenagers and she's been in the area of teaching kids and being around them for so long, and she wants to help them get through that and feel good about it. So please share this video because lots and lots of us need lots of help, and lots of teenagers could really appreciate the help. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Gina, for being here. Okay. Hello, Joyce. How you doing? Yeah, I just love what Gina's doing. Having two kids in high school. Well, I have a 20-year-old now, so she's out of high school, but two kids that really, really, really struggled with school and how to, yes, it's not only one class that they have to worry about. It's not one test they have to worry about. It's 5 to 6 different courses and classes where they have to figure out how they're going to study and how they're going to prepare for all of those tests, along with the hormones, along with the boys and the girls and the social issues in school. So I absolutely love what Gina is doing, and because it's not just the content. There is so much more. There's mindset. Absolutely. Like I said, I think going to high school or graduating from high school is the biggest accomplishment that you could do, because it's 13 years in the making to actually get all the way to high school and graduate. And some people super duper struggle with school. I absolutely loved it. It was my social time, but I know I'm a unique soul. And I can't say who that's posting. This is great information for parents and teens. Yes. Good. I homeschooled my kids through high school. There were some tough days. Absolutely. And, and I know Gina's not a tutor, but how they have changed math and everything. I used to be great at math. I got straight A's in math, except for one semester. It pissed me off. But I was really good at math, and I struggle now. For one, there's 3 decades between when I was in school and when my kids are going to school. And it's so I don't know how to help them. And so without the parents actually being able to help the kids with their math and stuff like that, they have to figure it out on their own, especially if they're shy and are unwilling to actually raise their hand in class and get more clarification. And now a lot of those responsibilities are put on the parents. There's so many kids not actually going back to school, and so they don't have the teacher's aid. They don't have all of the other help that they would get normally. And so I think what Gina has created is wonderful. And so, like I said, both of them, they're sleeping right now. But if you have any questions for Gina or Wassim, they're part of the Facebook group. So you could just reach out to them, just search under the members and you'll find them and you can ask questions. I'm going to have both of their giveaways under the announcements where it says giveaways. And you'll see the guy going like this, and it's it's an announcement saying giveaway. So yes, awesome power couple interviewed today. I love that. Wassim has taken the two older boys to the physical UPW, and this especially all these interviews lately, this is just such a huge pitch for Tony Robbins. He's my biggest inspiration for sure, but to actually it's totally different when you listen to his courses versus actually being there. And so to have those parents actually bring their kids to UPW, what a life-changing event. And you don't have to be 40 when you get that life-changing event. You're being, 8 years old for the youngest. What a gift. Anyways, teenagers go through high school can be such a challenge. Yes. And it's not just the studying, Christina. It's the hormones. It's what your parents expect. It's wanting to hang out and be social. It's bullying sometimes. And, you're just getting into your own, your body's changing and your emotions are at a high. You need sleep. If you don't get sleep, yes, it's a hard time for teenagers. And so I absolutely love what she's doing. Yay. So just a reminder, I am gonna in less than 2 hours, we're going live again for tomorrow's interview. So you could watch it tomorrow at the normal time, or you could join us at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time. So we have two amazing interviews later on today. So that's Melissa Deely. So she is a health coach, and she really helps people focus on, what if you went to the doctor, something's wrong with you, and the doctor's saying, no, everything looks fine, your blood works fine, there's nothing wrong with you, but personally, internally, that something is wrong with you. And I absolutely resonate with what she is doing, because I've been there. It's like I feel crappy and everybody's, oh, you're low on vitamin D, whatever. But there's more to that. So I love what she's doing. And then we have Shirley Wimberly, which is another coach that loves to work with kids. And she was involved in the Boy Scouts program for 30 years, and that is where her heart is. And so that's a very interesting interview, and I love what she's doing. And it's more of that guidance of the teenagers, because such a uncertain time for teenagers. They don't know what their life has in store for them, and sometimes their parents have different ideas of what they did, right? Even Wassim talked about that. He wanted to go to school for psychology, but he listened to his parents that said, no, don't do that. And so I love what both of these women are going to talk about today. And so I hope that you join us back at 2 p.m. So it's a little less than 2 hours from now. And then tomorrow we will actually do a watch party. I will be at work, so I won't be able to do that. And so just heads up, and a shout out to Lachelle Lowe. She's going to be doing the watch party for me. So she has been amazing through this whole process. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, please put them, just reach out to Gina and Wassim in the group, and make sure you look for their giveaways, and then show back up if you can today in a couple of hours to listen to two more amazing coaches. And I'm super excited to bring them to you. So there's something that's on my mind. We're all talking about identity, right? So what is your passion? What is, what really drives you? And sometimes what beliefs do you have? So I want to do this little numerology thing. So 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I was going through this program, and it was called Own It by Fia Lynn Crandall. And she's an intuitive, and she was actually teaching how teaching people how to design their business according to their numerology traits. And so, first of all, you have to learn a little bit about your numerology traits. And some people think that it's witchcraft, and I absolutely don't think so. I love tools that give you more clarity about yourself. And so, so one of the things that she did, so I'm one of those kind of like Wassim, like we were talking, you know, you try this business and it didn't work, and or not that it didn't work, it didn't feel right. So I've tried many businesses, probably a couple dozen businesses. And since my very first one was Amway, and that was 1989. And I've gotten a little bit from each one of those, right? But I used to think of myself as a flake because, well, you know, Robin's not sticking to this business. She switched to this one, and oh, shiny penny, or, you know, squirrel, something new and exciting. And so when I actually went through this Own It course with Fia Lynn, I realized that my life path was a 5. And so it's jack of all trades. So somebody interested in multiple different things. And after learning different things about myself, I had a whole new appreciation. Instead of me judging myself, Robin, you're such a flake, it's like, no, that is part of who I am. And I love that. That's why I love, you know, love of learning, because I like to know lots of different things. And so I'm going to post in the group. I did this thing live here in Reno a couple months ago where it's talking about your life path, right? So I'm not going to tell you how to get to your life path number yet. I'm going to post the descriptions of all of the life path numbers, and I want you guys to actually guess which one you are. And then I will tell you how you could figure out which one you are and see if you were right. And it's a blessing. And so all of these little descriptions, it talks about all the traits that you have, and some of them are good traits and some of them are weaknesses, but nobody's perfect. And so I'm going to post that in the group. So go in there and make sure you read all of them and try and guess which one you are. And then maybe tomorrow evening, or possibly Monday, I will teach you how to actually figure out which one you were, because I think it's so much fun to actually, you know, discover these little things about yourself. And whether that be the 6 human needs, whether that be your love language, whether that be the human design, like we've talked about a couple times, just all these different things that give you clarity about yourself when sometimes other people's influences cloud who you are. I want to give people as much clarity about who they are as possible. So I hope you guys jump in there and actually check that out. But I am going to get for now. I will be back in an hour and a half. Sometimes your greatest weakness can become your greatest strength. Absolutely. And so the other day I was talking to Joyce, and it kind of made me think about certain things. Oh, no, it wasn't Joyce. It was Anna. And I guessed what her life path was because of different things that she had gone through, and I was right. And so that's what made me want to post this. So I'm super excited for you guys to check it out and try and just say, I think I'm a 4, or I think I'm a 8. And, you know, no prejudgment, and just have it be fun. And then we'll find out in a couple days which one you are. And I'll let you do the math, because you have to do your birthday to figure that out. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for people. So I will be back in just a couple hours, and we will see you then. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you later.